who would like to give the recap for session 40 now?
We came, we saw, we kicked her ass. That's basically it.
Well, yeah. Daggerface stabbed me a few times.
Yeah.
After stabbing
and downing T-Hole. which he has no recollection of because he was charmed by Reggie of Veilshorn.
Oh, I'm sure he recalls.
Yeah,
and savors every moment of that memory.
He seemed to remember attacking Zarius, strangely, but his memory of you must have been wiped because he didn't apologize for that part.
Yeah, he didn't come and hug you.
He came to. So he came to while he was
right after downing me.
Zarius. So it was still fresh.
Obviously, that's obviously the explanation.
All right, that's one T-Hole's going with. That's one T-Hole's going with.
Yeah.
So, Crick, you ran as soon as it became clear that combat was about to start. A ghostly form of the same woman, much older, appeared and empowered everyone. But she didn't empower you, so she had never seen you before. You weren't there when they freed her. So you got no extra power, and having 10 hit points, you ran off to hide.
Makes sense, yeah. Probably got stuck in the webs in the other room.
Well, it was all
webs.
Yeah, it was all. Right. That's true. She did light these two large pyres, in the middle of the room. So hiding in the fireproof webs may have been wise. But it is all one large room. So you were in the same room as the rest as you were previously, but you were concealed by the webs, and so she wasn't paying any attention to you.
So Zarius did summon his 10 agents. I don't remember their actual title, but ancient warriors.
Valkyries, weren't they?
They're akin to Valkyries, but they are more from Zarius' religion.
Yeah. So that really helped fight off some of the demons. We were able to get a solid few blows into Regia. It was mostly Lucirosi towing off with the occasional blast or hit from everybody else.
Well, Lucirosi, she fucked up when she tried to move out of his range because he got an attack of opportunity and critted the shit out of her with a smite.
That's when she started using the deed to move around. It's like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so being that she had the deed, she had the power to twist the mansion in any way she wanted to. So she started using that to kind of distort the battlefield.
That's cool.
Eventually she succumbed, and she dropped a whip and a book, and the book or a scroll, and the scroll is the deed to the manor. Next to the giant beacon or the portal or the symbol, there was a pile of books, and we started rifling through them,
burning them.
And burning through the ones that were most heretical. There was a lot of books around, this is how you summon demons, and this is how you bend them to your will. This is how you become a demon. So those are the ones that we burned in the church. Lucirosi burned in the church. But we did get a few good ones. The ones we were looking for, the De Fabrica, which is a book on flesh golems.
It is a manual of creating flesh golems, and in addition, it allows you to create a certain number of other animated objects, like the animated swords you previously fought.
Oh, and only Zarius was able to read it. Or at
Well,
least-
only you and Lucirosi tried. It requires 5th level spell slots, like the standard manual of golems.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So it actually could have done more damage to Lucirosi, but he got lucky.
Hmm.
It did blast Lucirosi like across a room and into a wall, though, when he tried to cut pages out of it.
Right.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Astro saved me. That's what Luciros is sticking to.
So we ended kind of discussing how we were going to deal with the librarian, and presumably the librarian heard all of our plans because the door was open, and he just jetted out. There's no trace of him in the manor.
Well,
Well,
to
you-
be
you
fair, we
didn't
haven't
search
really
for-
looked for him.
Right, you haven't searched for him. You just didn't see him when you went down.
Yeah. T-Hole would assume that he'd be gone. Hot, you know.
And Lucirosi, thinking with his stomach, because it's been a while since he's eaten a good meal, decided to go and check for the kitchen, where apparently there's a bunch of demons waiting for us.
And the food rotted really quickly
Right. The
as
food.
time caught up with it.
So as you watch all this food rot, you then begin to see various pots and pans and trays and plates begin to shake. And out of the rotted food, you see burst a large number of creatures that look like this. However, the warriors that Zarius summoned are still around and in unison burst into the room and begin fighting them. It looks as if these demons are relatively easy for them to defeat, but as the fight goes on for a little bit, you see a few of the warriors get bit and they begin to transform into these things,
God damn it.
which the warriors then have to fight. But eventually, the last of the warriors is able to defeat all of the demons, including their transformed former fellow comrades. And the kitchen is, once again, the kitchen is now demon-free. And you begin to smell, the smell of rot and decay begins to fade as you see fresh food begins to appear in every basket and all traces of the rotted food begins to disappear.
Well, that's handy.
Without question, T-Hole would start eating this freshly materialized food.
Give me a con now. Yeah, as near as you can tell, it is fine. I mean, you're sure it's just some sort of magically conjured food. And at least so far, you haven't seen anything that looks to be cooked. It all looks to be raw food. But you imagine that probably, like, there is a stove in here and cooking utensils. You imagine probably all of it is magical in some way. The servant might have been able to use this stuff to prepare cooked food, but you haven't got the hang of it just yet.
I mean,
Yeah, Crick would walk in and be like, I can prepare this, I think. And I'd just grab a basket and set it on fire. Here you go.
what was in the basket?
I don't know, probably fruit.
Daggerface, with the deed, perhaps if you willed him back into existence, you could repair servant.
Daggerface reaches behind him and swings his pack around and takes the scroll back out. What do I do? Like, just wish for servant to come back?
I mean,
Does the scroll say anything?
He hasn't read the scroll yet. The scroll is exceptionally long. So it will take some time to digest everything that's on the scroll.
course.
Well,
it
I
seemed
would-
when Regia had been transforming the room, she simply grabbed the scroll and things changed with her will. So perhaps if you just hold the scroll and think about Servant being repaired, perhaps it will happen.
It might
So-
also require some form of attunements, like many of our items.
Well, it's worth a shot.
So he tries
didn't-
gripping the scroll, and he squids, giving it as much concentration as he can. But at least for now, the servant has not reappeared.
Well, maybe
Um,
with some more time.
I think Zarius would probably go up the steps to that library area.
So you head up. Although the last time you were up here, Hellweir had been knocking books off the shelves in an effort to upset the librarian. All books do appear to be back on the shelves again.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know if the librarian did that or if it's just some effect of the manor or the servant did it, which is possible. But everything appears to be in order. The only odd thing is on one of the reading tables, you do see there is a folded over card that
Just like-
wasn't there before, like a note.
Does it have a name on it? I'll go look.
On the outside of the card, it says from the librarian.
And I'm assuming he's not up here.
You don't see him.
Just to, well, I don't know if it'll matter, I guess, but I'll do it anyways. I'm gonna cast detect magic. I won't wait for the ritual. So I'll
So
just
you're
cast it.
Okay. The note itself appears to be non-magical. Most of the books in the room appear to have the same sort of low-level background magic you've been detecting normally from the books. I would say you're familiar enough to realize that these are mostly just protection spells to
Mhm.
keep the books in good order, to keep them from falling apart over time, that sort of thing. But you don't otherwise sense anything all that unusual here.
All right, no.
A few of the books do seem to have more unusual auras.
All right, I'll grab the note, and then I'll have a quick look at these other books, like concentrate on them, see what schools they might have. I guess.
It's
There's any?
it's various schools, but basically you find 6 scrolls.
Okay, I'll pull them out. I
So
just
you
like
take the
toss them over the balcony so they fall down.
So yeah, they go over the side like any other scroll, falling to the ground below.
I want to carry a bunch of scrolls, and then I'll
Yes, because they're so encumbering.
I got a bum knee. I
Hey.
gotta go down a fucking spiral staircase. I'll open the note and start reading it as I walk down.
The note says, "You double-crossing bastards! I heard everything you said, but I am a devil of my word, so I have not left the manor. But good luck finding me. If you need some question answered, I will answer you telepathically. Thank you very much. Go fuck yourselves. I look forward to seeing Daggerface in hell."
I just kind of like fold it up, and as I get down to the bottom, the devil is still here.
Good.
He did hear us, and I'll just kind of like hold the note out for anybody to take.
I'll read it. I'm afraid as much, but by our pact, I don't think he can actually leave the manor until we leave first.
So is it eternal hide and seek then?
I'd rather not play such games.
Or well,
Meanwhile, Luciosi's putting together some. He's picking out some of the things from the pantry to try and make some kind of something. He's not a great cook, but he knows some simple meals.
Right. I mean, there's enough food here to make a variety of things. You find, though, that as you begin to, every time you think, well, I wish they had this, you can find it somewhere nearby, it appears.
man, I wish my kitchen was like that.
I know, right?
It's like
Doesn't work like that.
Right.
Where is the turmeric? Oh, right there.
best spice cabinet ever. So I would just imagine T-Hole would just be like engorging on the sweet rolls, baskets and baskets of sweet rolls, and just kind of like walking around and seeing the scrolls fall to the ground from above. He'd look up and then look down and pick one of them up, try to like hold it with one hand, like while munching on the rolls.
So roll a d6 for me. It is a scroll of protection from elementals.
That's a handy one.
You might need protection from me, I think.
No, not from you, but I doubt you're
those-
the last elemental we'll ever run into.
Yeah, those pesky water elementals. You gotta watch out. As bad as those demons.
Do you know of the time elementals?
No. Nor do I. I do not.
I would say actually, given where you come from, you do, but for your you've probably never seen one in person, except maybe at a great distance.
I know of them. I don't know too much about them.
Oh, they're a pain in the ass.
Hmm.
We ran into a time elemental, and it took a while in a pool of greater restoration to get back my fine figure.
Does the time elemental control this place? Knowing that the times are always changing in every room. It sounds something like a time elemental would do.
Well, presumably that's because of the effect of where this manor sits in conjunction with the material on the astral plane.
So Lucharosi is still putting together some kind of meal, and he's trying to put together enough for everybody to take part if they wanted it. But while he's doing that, he calls from the kitchen. We also have to discuss the matter of how we're going to deal with the king. We made an agreement regarding the items within this manor.
What exactly was our agreement? It feels like it has been a long time. I do not remember.
Well, they were concerned with war, and so they wanted whatever means might be produced or held within this manor that could sway the potential battle in their favor.
Well, you know what that means. Say bye-bye to that spell book, T-Hole.
What they don't know won't hurt them.
they won't just let us go. They'll demand evidence of what we've found.
So who is this usurper king you talk about?
He's but a child, but he has his advisors are all very strongly preparing for war.
It has been
Cinderholm, I think, is his greatest advisor.
It has been some time out there. We don't even know what the state is.
It's true, but we should be prepared.
Wouldn't be worried that much about a king, more so the Fire Prince. If he's up there, well, there's a world of hurt, well, a world of burning, at least.
Why would the Fire King be present?
Well, a king, prince. And, well, from what he told me, there's something to do with demons, and he doesn't like them either. But he doesn't like the material world, or whatever world that you guys are on.
In our time here, did we by chance see a fine crystal ball, or a silver mirror, or a font filled with holy water?
Not exactly.
Looking to scry. All right. I don't know. There was the mirror that Aurelia came through, or came in at, but I don't know if I could use that or not.
I mean, it's not made of silver, but sure. You probably could use, there's a giant font of what amounts to holy water in the chapel.
That's true, yeah. Must be worth 1,000 gold pieces, it says.
Well, that font is worth more than 1,000 gold pieces. The
All right.
mirror Aurelia came out of is also worth more than 1,000 gold pieces.
In the morning, if we wish, I can attempt to peer outside.
That might be for the best. If we're hesitant to give Lokexicus this book, I'm even more hesitant in handing any sort of things to those yokels.
Why are you going to give them anything? You're the emperor.
Wow, I didn't say I would give them anything. But collectively, I would be hesitant to give them anything in this manner.
So is Daggerface going to stay here since this is his home now?
No, I'm not staying here. I hope to never set foot in this place ever again.
But you could summon it whenever you want now. It'll always be following you. At your beck and call.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Lokexicus can have it. You can have it.
So what's next for you?
Well, I suppose I have to figure out what's the best way for me to find some meaning in this life. I know what Seamus Holbein would have done, but Daggerface, he's a man of adventure. Perhaps I'll start my own adventuring company. I suppose I should figure out if Don Petronio needs anything, since he is technically head of my clan. He might be able to advise me better.
You could attempt to reassume the life of Seamus Holbein.
Seamus Holbein is dead.
Long live Seamus Holbein.
Okay.
Daggerface, you can serve your
See,
Emperor T-hole.
Is Zarius a little crazy?
I was knocked out during that last fight.
We'll see if we can find a way to bargain for your freedom back. I'll admit gods aren't really my specialty because I've always thumbed my nose down at them. But there has to be a way or something.
He is not even looking in your direction as you talk.
Do you remember killing me?
If you mean when I dropped you with my axe upstairs, yes. Very satisfying. He walks away.
Where does all this anger come from, Daggerface?
Why don't you ask your emperor?
Well, I persuaded him to give up his soul for the greater good of the group.
Sacrifices must be made.
Yes, but my soul was also sacrificed because we did not discuss this ahead of time.
Well,
Yes.
It is one thing for a man to make a decision for his own sacrifice. It is quite another for a coward to convince others to pay the price they are not willing to pay.
Well, we just need to call whoever this person is and tell them they need to give the souls back.
Daggerface, know that we are into this together. And together we will find a way to do what we can.
Well, I am not a holy man the way you are. And I don't really spend much time thinking about the afterlife. And it's only really now that I feel the terrible weight of the loss of the afterlife for me, or worse, knowing that my soul is going to be put to some horrible end.
You may not be a believer or have the faith that I do, but that does not mean that I will not lend my faith to you. Asheros' light is strong. He will guide our way.
He just sits down and begins to, like he's just going over his gear, begins to sharpen his axe, and then just stares at T-Hole as he sharpens.
Are we gonna rest here the night, or are we just gonna leave? What are we doing?
I recommend that we rest, we eat, we gather our strength, and we take the remaining time that we have here to discuss how we're going to approach the world outside and prepare for whatever might be ahead, because Asheros knows how much time has passed since we've entered this manor.
You can still ask the devil. He will answer you in your mind.
There was
I don't
also
think he would know. He didn't know what time had passed while he was here. He could only say that he had experienced about 9 months from the time that the devils had come into this place.
Yeah, he's not in tune with the timing of the material thing.
You hear in your head, demons, not devils, demons came into this place. If you want to have private conversations, close the fucking door sometimes.
Lucirosi is going to stop making the food to go and shut the door.
That powerful deck, what have you guys done with it? Is that something we're planning on giving to the king?
No, absolutely not.
Not before we examine it.
In that deck may lie your salvation.
I've actually been thinking about the deck. And it is possible that through this deck, Asheros could grant the blessings that we seek.
It's an Asheros deck then?
I do not know if it is of Asheros. I do know that it has made significant changes within the world when it was previously used. At least that's what I believe has been told. Does Lucirosi know about the deck, or was it somebody else that explained it?
All of you would be aware of stories, more in the way of folktales and myths, about decks like this one turning up and changing the world in some way.
So it could be that through this deck, Asheros' will might be manifest.
There's one way to find out, I guess.
Well, if I draw a card and it has some ability to free souls, Daggerface, your soul is the first one I'm freeing.
Shink. Shink.
Has Lucirosi been able to finish preparing the meal, do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. So Lucirosi would begin setting the table, because there's a table in here, right?
There's a preparation table in the kitchen. There's a dining table in the bigger room adjacent to it.
Yeah, so he would begin bringing the food out to the dining table, and inviting everybody to eat and say, "Come, let us eat, gain our strength, and then we can draw from the deck."
So you all exit the kitchen and have a meal.
This is great, Lucirosi. I didn't know you could cook. When did you learn that?
As an inquisitive for the church, we go on long treks, and so we must find ways of preparing food for ourselves. It's a simple recipe, but it's one that I've used many times.
This boiled chicken.
Yeah?
Uh-oh.
Loading.
Pause.
Floating.
You froze after boiled chicken.
Oh, did I was just buffering.
I mean, yeah.
I said this boiled
Maybe.
chicken is top notch.
I thought maybe the chicken wasn't cooked long enough, and that was the end of T-hole.
T-hole went out like a tube of toothpaste.
Well, that wouldn't be the most embarrassing way to go.
All right, so while we're eating, Lucirosi would take the time to say, all right, so what are people's thoughts if the kingdom is still in a position to demand or request the arms that are kept within this manor. How do we address that?
As I was walking through the mansion, there was that armory. There's pretty basic weapons in there. We could convince them that's all we found. Because really, other than books, that is what we found.
Let us assess what we have found exactly.
I'm concerned because if there is to be war, I believe it was with the Hobgoblin Kingdom, was it not?
And the elves.
Yes. And so to ignore the impact of such a war would not be right. But at the same time, once these weapons, once this knowledge contained within this mansion is gone, we have no way of ensuring that it will be used for the good of the kingdom and its people.
Well, there's always the option of going out the other door. Of course, that'll mean a journey into the astral plane, which I've never been before, so I don't really have much to say about it, but I'm sure there's a plethora of information in the manor itself about the astral plane that we could use to help us. And then we could find our way back to the material plane from there.
Of course, T-Hole would speak of shirking his word.
Just saying there are other doors. We don't have to take the one right in front of us.
Maybe that's where Mordenkainen went.
No, even if we go out another door, it does not negate the fact that there may be war going on within the kingdom. Lives are at stake. We cannot ignore that.
There's never been a period in history where there hasn't been war and lives haven't been at stake.
No, but we are in a position to potentially do something about it. And we may be forced, because if we leave through that door and do not provide what we bargained for to enter this place, they may throw us into their dungeon.
The astral plane could also be unstable. There are a lot of other wars going on the other elemental planes, at least.
Well, it's just an idea. Should really consider all options before choosing one.
Well, I guess we're going to ignore the crazy option then and go for the somewhat manageable one.
That would be my recommendation.
Well, I do like throwing twists and turns towards the DM, so.
What is this DM?
It is a direct message.
That's a 7th level spell, I believe. Well, after we've drawn from the deck and then we see what is outside, then I think we'll be in a better position to know what we can and cannot do, or should not do.
It's true, but we should at least be prepared. They will want answers once we leave this manor.
There's a lot of magical items in here. It can be very dangerous if it falls into the wrong hands.
Yes, I agree. But at the same time, if if war is happening, or if it is still a potential, it is not an undue request for the kingdom to want to be prepared with as much armament as possible. Save themselves.
What that we found here would be beneficial to a war?
A book full of powerful arcane spells that aren't available elsewhere.
What was in the book?
Didn't get a chance to read it.
Precisely.
Daggerface,
Does
are
not
you the
mean
only
that
one that can get us in and out of this manor?
Yes, I am the one. Looks to me like you have time to read the book, and we can determine if those spells would be useful in a war.
Yes,
Wow.
but there's other knowledge in this manner. Some of it would be applicable to ascertaining power. Others might not, but still, it is knowledge that once out, we cannot control.
Well,
Yeah.
if they seem to be difficult or hostile to us, Daggerface can lead them back in here and then leave and leave them trapped in here.
Yeah, we're talking about a whole kingdom, sweetheart, not just that one guy who I leave trapped in here. So I don't know if that's exactly going to get us completely off the hook with everyone in the kingdom of Longspear.
There's lots of rooms. I'm sure they'll want a tour.
Perhaps we can curate something. We can curate the items that can be provided. That way, at least, we're not handing everything over to the king, but we are giving them something reasonable that would help them in the war.
Well, they have.
Well,
They wouldn't have access to this manor per se. Just the things that we bring out of it.
I mean,
I'm-
who knows what has happened and how attitudes may have changed in the time that has passed while we've been in here. But still, they're going to want something.
Well,
And if they don't get it, they will take it out on us.
the difference between wanting something and ransacking the manor are two different things. We can
Which is
easily
why
bring something
I'm
out.
suggesting that we bring something out, and then something that would satisfy them enough not to force Daggerface to bring them into the manor. And Daggerface, perhaps I know that you do not wish to be here in this manor, but any much longer. But once we leave with some of these items, perhaps then it would be best for you to find a way to move the door.
I'll read the scroll and try to figure out how the deed works.
I can see no other means of meeting the request that allowed us entry halfway. We also
Well,
need to provide the book that we promised to
Lady Mia.
Lady Mia.
And we're still not giving up the De Fabrica.
No, the Fabrica is... That does not belong with Lokexicus.
flesh golems are quite scary, from what I've been told. They wouldn't last very long on the fire plains.
I worry about seeking the ire, or drawing the ire, rather, of Lokexicus, especially given that she's the reason we are here in the first place.
Yes.
She very reasonably has every right to that book.
But does she? She promised us payment upon its return. If we do not return with it and do not accept payment, then there's no transaction to be had. We could also...
I see that as very much the same argument as I was making of we should just go around to the astral plane because
the stakes are higher. We are talking about, as Zarius or Daggerface said, this is an entire kingdom, and we are known now within the court of that kingdom. And so if we are not to meet our obligations to their determination, we will be known fugitives. And they have many more resources than I'm concerned about Lekexicus bringing to bear against us.
What do we know about Lekexicus?
Well, first of all, Lucia Rossi, you hear in your head, so you're saying that if you just don't take the book to her, then she doesn't have to pay you, so no transaction? You are going to be so much fun if you ever become a devil in hell. You're great at this. You're great at this.
Lucia Rossi pounds the table and says, I thought I closed that door.
You were in the kitchen when you closed the door. You then came out, had a meal.
Okay, so Lucia Rossi's going to get up and slam that other door shut.
There's two of them.
Yeah, you're actually not entirely. There's 3 doors to this room. You're not necessarily sure where he's hiding.
Oh, I will shut every single one of them with the same enthusiasm. Boom, boom, boom. This is Mordecai's Manor. I don't have to worry about breaking shit.
There's also the library upstairs where there's no door between the dining hall and the library, just a balcony above the dining hall.
Yeah.
And he's shown that he has the ability to teleport, at least to certain places within the manor, certainly the library.
Mr. Devil, I have a question. Are you in here?
You don't hear anything. You've never heard him except when you've seen him in person.
Yeah, so, okay.
Only Lucia Rossi, Daggerface, and T-Hole can hear him telepathically.
Yeah, so Zarius, Aurelia, and Crick wouldn't really have any reason to understand why Lucia Rossi's just suddenly pounding a table, roaring like a lion, and slamming doors.
The note said that he'll talk to you telepathically. So why else would you fucking do it, really?
So, but I mean, what you know, Lekexicus she's a character you've dealt with before. You've done other missions for her. I mean, T-Hole would probably like her. She's a dealer in rare artifacts. She's relatively fair in her dealings. I mean, she specifically said when she found out that there might be demons in this place that if you didn't want to go in, that'd be fine. She preferred you not risk your lives to try to get a book over getting the book back. She's usually pretty reasonable about these sorts of things. That said, you're not sure how she would react to, well, we have the book you want, but we don't know if you're worthy enough to have it. We're afraid of what you might do with it. That might be personally insulting.
Right. I mean, retroactive insight.
Yeah, we have we have a history with Lekexicus, and since we've done other things with her, I would imagine that there's some sort of understanding that there's at least some level of trust, even if it's like we've gotten other rare things for you in the past, and you've dealt with them fairly.
We've built a rapport.
Yes.
Yeah, but Lucia Rossi has limits, and given what's contained within the book, he would have destroyed it if he could, but it seems to be resistant to his efforts to do so.
I mean, there wasn't anything wrong. There isn't anything wrong with flesh golems.
It is an unholy monstrosity that should not be ever created. It requires the desecration of dozens of bodies.
Or
even
that
if they are willing subjects, that is still abhorrent.
can they already be dead?
Yes.
To
Doesn't
create a
matter.
flesh golem?
They must be bodies.
And you could pick up.
That-
you could,
That is going to be my submission to the new tome of Beasts. A flesh golem made of living people.
Oh boy.
Yeah. That would do, like, it would have all kinds of fucking shit, too. Really wisdom saves for all the fucking screaming that these people are doing at you.
I mean, they'd essentially be like an equivalent of like a beholder.
I mean, that sounds like something Mordain the Flesh Weaver would make.
Yeah.
Oh.
Eugene, the train spotter.
Yeah. I still think my favorite was Morgains, the what was it, Dustin?
More Gains, the Flesh Ripper or something.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can search my email.
Yeah, I mean, can I do like a retroactive insight? I don't know.
You can do an insight check, sure.
I don't know how trustworthy she is. Or gains the muscle ripper. Wow, really? A fucking 2 I rolled?
I'll be right back.
I mean, you would. We could take a 5-minute break after this, but your impression of her would have been that she was pretty trustworthy. Like, she's always given you warning, even this time when things turned out to be hairier than she initially thought they were going to be.
Mhm.
So she doesn't seem as if she's overly deceptive.
Do I remember
When she
what else
finds things, go ahead.
Do I know what else we've gathered for her?
Sure. Mostly it's not been magical artifacts. Mostly it's been rare historical artifacts that have been lost that she's needed recovered. Or occasionally you've gone out to try to find things that you just couldn't locate. The rumors turned out to be false.
She's
but
kind of
it-
like an antiques dealer, and we're
Right.
her people who fetch the antiques.
She has several. You're not the only ones who do this for her, but she doesn't generally go out finding these things on her own. But she's pretty good at digging up like the last known locations for things.
Do we know her to be a spellcaster?
You're aware that she can cast spells. You're not sure to what extent.
Mhm. Okay,
You know that she has a familiar, an owl.
sure. Which is like base level stuff
Right.
for arcane casters. All right. Or a warlock pet. Who knows?
She's done some
Sure.
long range messaging as well.
Right. Do you know that she contacted you in your dreams? And that's
Yeah.
a pretty advanced spell.
Indeed.
And
She would
you
probably
know,
be capable of reading the book.
probably yes. You also know that she did spend a fair amount of time. Like when the door first appeared, nobody knew what it was. She was the first one to put that together. She was the one who figured out that Seamus Holbein was the last living descendant of the dwarf who originally got an interest in it. So she did do a fair bit of legwork.
Mm.
So you imagine she'll be somewhat annoyed, but who knows?
Antiques,
Maybe when she hears the whole story, it will mitigate it somewhat.
an antiques dealer and a historian.
Right.
I trust her.
Yes. I don't feel as strongly about the nature of the content of the book. You could easily just go to a battlefield and pick up 10 freshly killed bodies to make.
Yeah, but
flesh
you're a
golems.
godless heathen.
Yeah, I do not.
Thank you.
I do not agree with the use of the flesh golem. The body has a purpose after death.
Incineration.
It informs the vessel with which you return to the afterlife.
And once again, I don't think that this is a matter of trust. Lokexicus may very well just keep it in her own private collection, and it may never even see the light of day. But that doesn't mean...
She specifically said that she knows who originally owned it and who lent it to Eregia. And so that person still being alive, she can return it to them to get a tiny profit out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Right, so we know that she then has somebody lined up to give it to.
Perhaps we make this conversation prematurely.
When are we playing cards?
I wonder, can I see that book? See if I can if I can find an author. It gotta be a copyright page, right?
I think Zarius, you're holding it because last time Lucirosi held it.
I had it. I'll pull it out
room.
and open it up, and we can have a look at it.
Now I'm gonna see if I can find like an author or initial or something.
You can read the book without any difficulty, and flipping through it, you don't necessarily at first you don't see an author, but in the far back on the last page, you see that all of the notes in here and the magics in here have been compiled by Gargo Menezer, is the name of the person who put it together.
Gargo Menezer.
That is a stupid name.
Sounds, well, a name is a name. It could have been a fake name.
Does it seem to have like a regional thing or a...
Give me an investigation check.
Okay.
You and Teal can give me an investigation check.
Oh, hey, look at that. I did all right.
Oops. Hold on a sec. I gotta... I did not have my character sheet ready.
So, Zarius, you get the sense from some of the terminology used that he's probably somebody who lives in Ismailir in the deserts.
Hmm.
So he's from the pretty far to the south.
Okay.
Well,
Someone from the desert, sounds like.
You also would get the sense just from the name alone that it's probably a gnome.
Hmm.
He froze.
Got some trouble
Yeah.
there.
Buffering again.
Nobody.
So are we just going to rest? I'm going to read the deed. He's going to read his spell book, get attacked by the sword, hopefully die. Oh wait, did I say that out loud?
Yes.
Yes, I believe we're also going to draw cards. Daggerface, would you like to participate in this?
Yeah, I don't know. Sure, Daggerface is an adventurer.
Let's make sure he draws last, right? Hopefully it's not the instant death card. Well, man, who knows? Maybe now we got the deed. Maybe we just, start reading it and just say, hey, I claim it. This is my place now.
I can't wait for Lucirosi to become like a terrible gambler addiction.
Maybe the next one. Maybe the next one. Maybe the next one.
hey man, Astros is on your side.
Astros is he's a luck god, right?
Nope. I mean, yeah, you would. I mean, anybody proficient with religion would know that these decks are more tied to the god Moraine, who is the luck god. or the god of, at least the god of chance. It's not necessarily good luck. Sometimes it's
Right.
bad luck.
Right, but Moraine is Ashros' wife, right?
What was it? It's not. I'm thinking of the wrong one. No, sorry. Melora is Asheros' wife. Moraine is
Oh.
the god of luck.
Oh. Yeah, Lucerosi has a pretty good religion check. But like Dustin said earlier, cognitive dissonance for this, right?
Yeah.
As a player, I want to draw.
All right.
Do you want to draw now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Then we can take our break and contemplate what's happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is
Oh boy, here we go.
Let's come up.
bad. I can tell it's good. We've not rested, so like if anything bad happens, we're not gonna be able to deal with it.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
So is this going to be like this? I guess everybody would know what you have then.
You'll. That's interesting. I haven't had to deal to anybody else. Let me get the long ass document of all the possible effects.
Oh boy.
So who wants to go first, and how many cards do you want to draw?
Me.
You could select up to 4.
Is it
So-
select up to 4, choose 1?
No, it's select up to 4. They all take effect
Oh, okay.
in the order you turn them over, at least.
Fun.
You can use like pull one over and then like have that take effect and then think about whether or
the
not you
next
want
one?
to do the next one.
You ultimately, unless one of them, kills you, have to turn them all over.
Ooh.
The number you draw will affect you, whether your character chooses to look at them or not.
All right. So I'll open up the time elemental box, and Aurelia, because you were so enthusiastic about it, I will present it to you first.
Okay.
So as you begin to look, there's no clasp on the box, but as you're sort of picking at the edges of it, trying to figure out how it opens, the box bursts like a soap bubble and the swirling colors around it disappear. The fairly heavy placards, all of which appear to be made of thin sheets of rigid gold, fall into your hand. So how many cards do you want to draw?
Dose.
Why are you not appearing on this list?
All right. We've got how many people here? 6 total, including Daggerface? I'm gonna cast Bless at 4th level. So that we get all 6 of us in it.
Just in case anybody needs to make a saving throw.
You get to add a d4 to a saving throw.
So can you see the cards?
I can see 3 cards. Yeah.
Well, there's one. There should be one in the lower corner. There should be 2 by you.
Yep. There's 2 by
both of
me.
you. Okay, so flip over either one.
Oh boy.
Okay. Oh, either on the screen or at below.
On the screen.
On the screen. Moraine, give me a pony. No. Don't.
Uh-oh. Did it work? I can't see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it did.
I
What came-
don't see it, so all right.
I do. Good.
What came up?
I will message you.
Aurelia summoned the Avatar of Death.
So now message me whether or not they were right side up or upside down, because that matters.
I'm gonna go get a drink real quick.
Oh yeah, me too. I guess. I don't want.
So first, where is it? Where'd it go? So as you flip over the first card, wondering why there doesn't appear to be a way for me to flip these cards over, which is to see them, which is weird.
I got the best card. I got Exodia. Okay.
Oh,
Exodia, be my strength.
steal request. So
Yeah, don't
touch anything. Okay.
yeah, don't bother with that.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So accept the steal request.
So let it go.
Yeah,
Okay, I let it go.
okay. Right. So Lucirosi may remember the description, but you flip over this card and it's got the image of a woman with a lemniscate curve, an infinity symbol over her head. And she is either wrestling with or embracing a lion. And you hear in your head, you are reborn with the strength to succeed. And you are immediately transformed into an Aasimar, a lion-faced Aasimar. Your strength score increases by 2. But you will have to rework your character to work in the Aasimar traits and take away the human traits. That includes the stat bonuses Aasimar generally get, but with this additional +2 strength bonus.
All right.
Mrs. Scratches?
So as you're watching, you don't hear the same thing she hears, but you see immediately she begins to glow, and in a flash, all of her features begin to transform. Her hair grows to, golden yellow. She transforms into a female lioness.
Like regular lion?
Aasimar. No.
Well,
Aasimar.
yeah, an Aasimar lioness, very much like Lucirosi.
Mrs.
So now,
Scratches.
let me steal the second card.
Yeah, and before I flipped that one, I would have said, because the first one was bring me a pony, and the second one I would have said, let me kill Mordenkainen.
Well, you are the pony, sort of. The second one, she flips over upside down the card of death, riding a horse, the figure
my
of
God.
death. And you hear in your head, now there is death. And behind you, all of you can see, but she can't, the figure of the Grim Reaper is standing over her shoulders. Its bony hands reach over her, and it leans down and whispers in your ear, the next threat you face, you can chase away with fire. If you do not, you will die. And then it disappears into a puff of smoke.
I need that fireball scroll.
Now Lucirosi is wondering if this is how he became Lucirosi from Robolar.
You see like a single tear roll down Zarius's face.
So who wants to draw next?
I will probably grab it after seeing that. Seeing as I'm so close to, death and such all the time, so
How
I'll
many
pull.
cards do you want to draw?
I'm gonna pull 3.
Wow, big roller.
Max is 4 apparently, or at least 4 at a time. I'll pull 3.
So first card, let me just click on whatever it is, approve the steal.
What?
It should say that there's an attempt to steal in progress.
Yeah, the GM
So
wants to
you-
steal this from your hand.
You can flip them over first, but then let me steal them.
Okay, so one of them is up, right?
Yep. Well, I can't see what's up and what's down for some
Right.
reason.
So if I hit let it go, you'll get to see it,
Yeah.
and you'll see it in its current orientation.
Yep.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna write these down myself just to be sure.
Yep.
I'll be right back. Get you some rest.
There we go. All right. Let it go.
So it's the Four of Wands inverted.
Get that effect right now, or should I flip the others?
Leave those alone for the moment. So you see there are four wands standing in the background. There's a palace. Two figures, a man and a woman, seem to stare at the palace. It looks like a scene of prosperity, although it is inverted. And you hear in your head, somewhere you shall have a throne of your own. Where shall be your home? And you feel as if you're supposed to answer.
Shit, I don't know. Where's a map?
There is a world map in the journal.
Map of the known worlds. All right. I forgot where we said that I was from.
I don't recall where you said you were from either. I mean, you could have essentially been from anywhere. The birthplace of your religion would be in Ismailir, in the deserts of Ismailir,
Right.
where the dragons originally had their homes.
Right.
But they've been scattered for a long time, so not all of them are down there anymore.
I feel like I would be from there, and that's where I would say.
Okay. So that is all you know at the moment, but you feel very certain that you have some connection to ancestral lands in Ismailir, and that you'll know what lands are yours when you see them.
Okay. Time
So
for me to
flip
go
it.
a Roman.
Flip the second card.
All right.
So you earn lands.
Apparently.
Well, who knows if they're good lands? Prosperity inverted.
You've got that spot between the highway and the drainage ditch.
Yeah.
It's all yours.
It's not between the highway. It's underneath the highway. It's underneath the overpass.
Oh, sorry, Cat.
Right, and adjacent to the airport, so the noise.
You know, strangely, I'm used to that part because I work right next to the airport. All right, there you go.
Oh, sorry.
So you see there is a heart floating in the air that is stabbed by 3 swords. And you hear in your head, there is hell to pay. Hell is coming for you soon. And that is all that happens at the moment. You got all the delayed effect cards, apparently. So flip a third card.
There we go.
I have to make those phone calls now, so
Okay.
I shouldn't be too long. Hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Look,
I'll see you soon.
All right, good luck.
Good luck, man.
This one's hilarious.
It's the Emperor inverted. You see an old man sitting on a throne wearing a crown,
Oh,
holding
no.
a scepter.
Oh no!
I am the Emperor.
You become T-hole.
We switch bodies.
Oh man, does that mean I get a bum leg now?
Does the
And-
Emperor on the card look like T-hole by chance?
It actually the picture does look a fair bit like T-hole.
It is you. Looking up at T-hole.
And I turned to Lucirosi. I told you. It's right there on the card.
And then what happens?
Right. And you see in front of you by the fireplace, adjacent to where you're sitting, out of the ground rises up a throne, but it appears to be empty. And T-hole, you feel a very strong pull to go and sit in that throne.
Zarius will go and sit on it.
And as you sit down, you hear a voice in your head that says, "You are unworthy." And a long staff appears next to the throne.
Is this yours?
Are you saying that to me?
Yeah.
I'll look at it. Do I recognize it?
No, you've never seen it before.
It doesn't seem familiar.
It's a staff, like a... What's the staff look like?
It appears to be more or less a gray wooden staff. It seems to be very plain. It's got a couple of knots from the tree it was carved in still in it.
Mm-hmm. Sort of just like resting my own staff. I'll grab it and examine it.
It appears to be very sturdy. You realize that each of the knots can be shifted around, as probably due to the result of some magic. They're not necessarily stationary, so that it will fit your hand. And they probably have some other effects in general. But you'd have to basically figure out how this thing works and what it does.
Right, okay. Is there enough room on this throne for two people to sit?
No, I would say two T-holes could probably do it. But a Zarius and a T-hole would be a tight fit.
I'll take a tight fit. It's fine. Does the throne look familiar? Does the throne look familiar?
Do I recognize it?
Yes, it looks very similar to the silver throne that you saw in your one dream a very long time ago.
The one where I was sitting on my throne and being bored with people? Right.
Yes.
Actually, yes, that's my throne. I saw it in a dream where I was watching my subjects bicker and I grew bored of them.
Dream, would you not have been awake?
Well, see, I don't quite remember. I only get bits and pieces of when I was an emperor, of who I used to be.
So, but when you sit on the throne, you are basically compelled to take a grasp hold of the staff, and pressing on one of the knots, it converts into a battle axe. And so make me an attack roll with proficiency against Zarius, the unworthy who just sat on your throne.
Attack roll with proficiency. All right.
Right. So it's basically it's a strength roll, but you add your proficiency bonus and then add +3 to that for the magic of the battle axe.
Oh no!
So now roll me. It's 1d8 plus 3 plus your strength modifier.
I will definitely cancel a 20.
Okay,
I'll cancel
you're
a crit.
So 1d8 plus.
Serious eyes go wide as he realizes what T-Hold is doing.
Yeah, 1d8 plus 3 plus your strength modifier, which appears to be 0.
Yep.
So Zarius, T-Hole takes this staff out of your hand, converts it into a battle axe, and then swings right at your neck as if in an attempt to behead you. So make me a DC 10 con save.
All right.
Nice.
So you are able to avoid being instantly beheaded. This throne underneath of you begins to sink back into the floor, vanishing, and the staff disappears out of T-Hole's hand. And T-Hole, you are 100% sure that he should never have sat on that throne.
That must have been my card.
How great would it have been if T-Hole drew the inverted throne?
I know, that's why I drew it. I'm like, oh, I guess this is mine now.
Well, but so far it's worked out that the lion card that was associated with Lucia Rossi got drawn by Aurelia, and the Emperor card got drawn by Zarius. I assume you'll each get each other's cards.
Can't wait.
So who wants to go next?
I guess I took 10 damage, right?
Yeah.
I gotta make a con save. Hold on. Maintain my bless. Okay, cool.
I'm disappointed that I didn't get to sit on the throne.
You did
Um,
done it.
Very, very disappointed.
So Lucia Rossi, ever being the gentleman, will offer up. He'll basically go last, so he's offering it to Lucia Rossi or Daggerface if they want to draw first before him.
Daggerface is going to draw 4 cards.
Oh boy.
Are you okay, Zarius? I don't know what came over me. Other than that throne should not have belonged to you.
Yeah, I should say you feel very strongly. Like he just tried to usurp your throne.
So maybe
Yeah.
T-Hole's not sorry.
Is
Yeah,
Daggerface drawing 9 cards?
No, it just has all the cards from the others.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
damn.
I tried to offer you a seat next to me here.
There could only be one.
I would have given it to you. I do not want it.
I appreciate that.
Really? You would have given T-Hole the throne? T-Hole.
If it is his.
Daggerface basically draws the first card. It is, you see 10 coins floating in the air above several figures. 7 coins are in the air, 3 coins rest on the ground. And as soon as you start arguing, Daggerface grabs his ears and says, "Will you stop yelling?"
All right.
Okay, so you're okay?
Everything is so loud. He then draws an image of a man riding a horse. He's carrying a long staff. 5 wands are seen in the backgrounds behind him, apparently being held by followers of his. Hmm. So this, you don't necessarily see an effect, but you do hear every little sound that you and Daggerface make seems to echo through the room.
At you and Daggerface?
Every sound that you and Daggerface make. Every sound in the room is apparently echoing over and over again. And you then see in Daggerface's hand, his axe begins to almost vibrate, and it's almost as if you're beginning to see a double image. He then is left in the end with two separate magical Holbein axes, each identical to the other.
Nice.
Can you dual wield those?
I can certainly try.
Well, as long as you don't aim them at me.
I'll do what I want.
It's my place.
Get out of my house.
You see, after that, Daggerface flips the next card. 9 swords hang in parallel over the bed of a young woman who is sitting up. She's grabbing her head as if waking up from some sort of nightmare. And you see out of Daggerface's chest a small mote of light appears, and then a second one, and they begin to split off into a myriad of other lights that begin to pierce and penetrate Daggerface's body, apparently causing him injury as he's wincing every time he gets hit. Eventually, you see he falls over, and he is not moving.
Luciosi's going to rush to
I'll
his
go
side.
examine him.
Does he appear to be breathing?
No.
Zarius, he's not breathing.
I'll perform a medicine check. Yeah, I mean, see if he's still alive right quick.
He seems to be alive, but paralyzed.
Okay.
And the paralysis is preventing him from breathing.
Could be a problem.
He is paralyzed. It has seized up his diaphragm. I'm not sure I have anything for that.
Hang on. Is Daggerface dying? Is that what we're talking about?
He drew a card. It caused a bunch of motes of light to fly out of his body. They then proceeded to pierce through his body over and over again. But he is currently at 0 hit points, unconscious, and paralyzed.
Oh,
Can
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, could I use an action, one of my action points to get a 5th level spell slot and try to cast a spell magic, upcast it to 5th level?
That almost certainly is not going to work on this magic item.
Oh.
I mean, somebody could spend an action point to get lesser restoration and cure the paralysis.
What about greater restoration? That work?
That would also work.
Okay. So I use an action point to get a 5th level spell slot, and I cast a greater restoration.
Okay, so he is dying, but he is no longer paralyzed.
Spare the dying.
So he is stable. And you see after a moment, he does wake up again, even though it should normally take several hours. And he takes the mask off his head, and you can see all of the injuries, the deformities he suffered are gone. He is restored again to his former appearance. Fairly handsome, if beardless dwarf. He has 2 functioning eyes again. What happened?
Seamus, I believe you have returned.
Seamus is dead. I'm Daggerface now.
There is no dagger in your face anymore.
You now have binocular vision again.
He reaches up,
Pokes
He
himself in
touches
the eye,
that side
fucking
of
takes
his
it out.
face. touches that side of his face, and he begins to cry.
If
And-
Daggerface is crying, I'm crying then.
He then lifts himself up and almost by compulsion reaches out and flips the last card. And you see a queen holding a giant coin with a pentacle on it upside down. And both Holbein axes immediately disintegrate.
I mean, lost his actions, got his face.
You won't be needing those anymore.
Well, at least
Also, joke's on you, Aurelia. Lions don't have tear ducts.
Crying on the inside.
Yeah.
What do we say? Praise be to Asheros.
Yes.
That was awesome.
So who wants to go next?
I fully restored him.
I'll go, and I'll draw 3 cards.
Are you sure, Emperor T-Hole?
Yes.
I will pray to Asheros that you are return to your normal, natural form.
I should.
Your
be okay.
former self.
I think that snippet was a former. That action was a snippet of my former self.
Can we return the the card to the deck?
Shovel it back in.
Right,
No, I
you
got
just-
6. I said 3.
Right, I
Uh-huh.
dealt you 3. Did
Oh,
you deal
I-
yourself another 3?
I did.
Apparently.
Alright.
I didn't know because it said draw. But well, I'll just flip over the first 3.
That's fine.
The top 3.
So send me the first one. So you see there is a man staring off into a distance. The sky appears to be clear except for a few clouds. There is a castle in the distance. He seems to be looking past it. At his feet, there are 5 cups. 2 of them are upright. 3 of them are overturned. Somewhere there is a perfect paradise for us all. And the area around you, instantly you see flowers and grasses begin to grow underneath your feet.
This is beautiful. Do I see anybody
So
else?
here's no, I mean it's still in the room. Here is what you can sense just from having drawn the card, that you will be able to, upon command, 3 times summon a paradise. And the effect of this is you'll be able to choose up to 12 people to experience this paradise with you. And if you do this over the course of an hour, it will work like a hero's feast, but without the 1,000 gold piece cost of casting the spell.
Ooh.
I know a young lady of the court who would appreciate that.
Yes, that.
True, it is perfect for a date night.
It's
as
like
long as your paradise includes drugs.
Yeah.
In
it's like
closets you can hide in after you're done.
And butt play. Don't forget the butt play.
Oh,
well. Yeah. All right,
Just-
so that's the next one.
And you hear in your head, the time will come to dance the duel. And you feel very certain that something is pulling on you. Something is trying to whisk you away magically. But it isn't working right now because you are still inside the manor. but you can sense that there is a nemesis out there that just tried to pull you to where they are so that they can kill you.
Mordenkainen.
Yeah, you're a little afraid that when you leave the manor, that may still happen.
Hmm.
As whoever this is has a connection to you, and will be able to take you, even if you don't want to go.
Seems I'm in grave danger when we leave this manor.
Good thing we are taking a long rest.
I mean, it sounds like T-Hole's lady friend may have sold some of his fluids to someone.
Yeah. Okay.
So send me the last card.
Lady Strongjaw.
So you see a woman sitting on a throne this time. She appears to be holding a sunflower, maybe in the form of a wand. There's maybe a form of wand. There's a black cat at her feet, and she very clearly, just from her aspect and attire, appears to be some sort of spellcaster, probably a wizard. And you hear a woman's voice in your head saying, "Here is your key." And a large brass key appears in front of you, floating in the air.
I take it.
And as you take it, I apparently have to do a bunch of rolls.
Oh boy.
Very rarely do I have to use the tables in the DMG.
Damn you, tables.
I know. So T-Hole can, or Dustin can, roll me a D100.
The most sacred of die.
Okay, roll again. So the key begins to shrink, I'm sure, and slips out of your hand and begins to circle around you, almost like it's in orbit above your head. So your dexterity has gone up by 2 for as long as this Eon Stone of Agility circles you. So that's what the key has turned into. So I have to take a 5-minute break,
Okay.
and then we can continue.
Yoonstone? Yoonstone?
Typed it in the chat for you.
Oh, yeah. Yoonstone. This chat. Cool. I wish Roll20 had a way, like kind of how Dice Cloud, you can add the stuff to the item so that you don't have to modify the character sheet. Like it just like modifies it for you.
Wait, what do you mean?
So like it adds +2 to my dex score, but like I don't want to like, I would prefer not to actually touch my dex score.
You can do that.
Can you add items?
Yeah. So, let's see. So if you go to an item, you'll where it's the weight normally is, you'll see a little dot pop up. You press that dot,
Oh.
you'll have some things that you can do.
It says prop and mods.
Right. So in mods, you can actually type +2 to dexterity and have it equipped, and it should do it.
Wonder if it, yeah, dexterity. See if that'll do it. It does. Oh yeah, it's cool. I didn't know that.
The more you know.
Well, that's good because then not for these other items, I can actually add stuff to them. Because I had this cloak as well. Did you order your Gen Con ticket?
Not yet. I'm probably gonna wait a couple weeks. Build up some funds for it.
For sure.
But I'm really excited about Gen Con. It's gonna be fun.
That'll be a great time. Be good to have everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should definitely do a one-shot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, of everyone in this group, only you and Tony haven't run anything. Maybe one of you guys should do it.
Yeah, maybe. I haven't run anything because I've been so busy with other things. I just haven't had like the time that I would want to invest to make something
Yeah.
that in depth. I'm thinking once school's over, I'll be able to. I'll have time to actually properly build because I want to build my own world.
Mm-hmm.
I did start like a legendarium, so I have some ideas of my own magic system, or at least of like a creation myth and all of that. I just need to flesh it out more.
That's cool.
Even going as far as like properly just building a maps that reflect how like accurate geological maps, currents that would exist, wind patterns, and basing settlements and civilizations off of that. So
So you want to go real in depth with it?
Yeah, I've got a lot of ideas. I don't want to really. I've done a couple one shots, which were fine. But like, if I'm gonna run a campaign, it's gonna be. I'm gonna have everything.
Nice.
Because like that's the level of detail and attention that I'd want to bring to it if I'm gonna invest time.
Yeah, I've never really been interested in building my own game world. That just seems like, for me, I'd never leave anywhere because I just wanted to be spending all my time doing that. So, yeah, that's awesome though.
Yeah. So I haven't read anything yet, but I will definitely have my turn. Also,
DM Dustin.
whenever I've done one shots, I'm like the DM that's just like making shit up as I go, and like hoping that it cobbles together into something cohesive by the end of the 7 hours.
That's the best.
Yeah. So half the time it works out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Wow, did you plan this? That turned out great." I'm like, nope. Just throw red herrings everywhere, and then when there's one that I like enough, I'll pick it up and then turn it into something.
Mm-hmm. So is everyone going to go to the Gen Con, or is it just a few of you? Or
I think we're pretty much all set to go.
damn.
Yeah, man. So you gonna book a flight?
Depends on how much I get back from insurance, maybe.
I mean, depending on how things go. There's no way my wife would want to be there all 4 days. She doesn't handle crowds. So, and there's a lot of people.
Well, I got the house for the whole time, and it's there's 3 bedrooms, fits up to 8, they say. So I'm imagining there's probably a couple sleeper sofas or something. So we can make that arrangement the best, however we can. Or if you're able to get a hotel room or something, it's going to be a pretty. The hotel prices were outrageous, and all the other Airbnbs are outrageous.
Yeah.
I was actually really surprised that this place was so cheap. And I'm like, there's got to be something to it. Like, there's got to be a catch. Like, there's a serial killer next door. So I Googled the neighborhood to see if, like, it showed up. The neighborhood next to it had a serial killer, but this one was safe.
Thanks. Yeah, good.
I mean, so I one time had to fly out to Atlanta for a buddy's baby shower, and
Doesn't seem worth
I managed to find Airbnb for like $25. There are some bad areas in Chicago, but this area like took the cake. And then on top of it, I didn't realize that the dude would actually be home just sleeping on his couch while I slept in his bed.
What the fuck?
So there's that.
He just needed $25, man.
Needed his fix.
So I guess I could sleep on the couch for a night and get $25 out of it.
Yeah.
Better than
And I
blowing
can go get a pizza now.
the dealer.
Oh my god. So yeah.
Yep.
So pretty much anything better than that would be an improved experience.
Yeah, it actually, the place seems pretty. I mean, the neighborhood seems nice and all of that. So, and it's only like 10 minutes away. It's like a 10-minute drive, which is like a pretty solid deal.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like even the drunkest of Ubers can get you there. There safely.
Oh shit. Should I bring Drunk Quest?
I don't know that one.
Dustin has actually played with me.
A couple times. We played that in a bar and racked up a
Yes. Oh my god, that was like my second date with Lisa.
Yeah, it was a $300 bill of cheap pitchers of Coors.
And I was so drunk that Lisa and Kyle basically split it.
Yeah. It was one that was a bad idea. Two, it was a good story. Because
three, Lisa didn't leave me.
Yeah, she married him. So yeah, that was a other time he's played. I mean, I would be okay with playing Drunk Quest, but like that's like a
till you run out. Pre-buy.
That's basically like about 12 beers a person is like a Drunk Quest game. So it's a lot of drinking.
Yeah, much more if you're me.
And it takes a little while because like the enemies you fight enemies by drinking them. Like their hit points are drinks. And so like but you have moves that can like add like can like penalize other players. So you can like screw your neighbor and they can screw you back. So it can take a long time to actually like kill an enemy because everybody's too busy like making each other drink.
Yeah, if anybody has played Munchkin,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically Munchkin but replace all the magic items
With drink cards.
and with drink cards, and also the things that defeat the monsters is not your bonus, but rather the number of drinks you have to take.
Yeah. I mean, it is a fun game, but it's like you walk into it and you're like, all right, well, it's 6:00 and we're not leaving, like at all. Like we better order these pizzas now and
Yeah, well, we're still
our
conscious.
So I still haven't been able to convince Nora to ever play.
Play what?
Yeah, the one time we tried getting her to play, wasn't she? Or no, maybe that was Paul's girl drinking wine
Yeah.
with the drunk quest. Oh,
Yeah,
bad idea.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea.
Drunk Quest. It's like.
Yeah, Kurt, you ever play Munchkin?
Yeah.
Okay, so think Munchkin, but instead of having to get the right magic item bonus to beat the monster, you have to drink that number of drinks.
It's a game where you. It sounds like a game where you can actually die.
Right. But think how epic that would be. You would never forget that game. Unless you were the one who died. But
Or unless you're one that forgets the nights.
So who wants to go next?
Me.
How many cards do you want?
I want. I've been contemplating 2 or 3. Probably 2.
Roll a d4.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Gotta go with it.
Nah, I picked 2.
So let me try something. Maybe everybody could see it this time. Oh, I dealt 2 cards to everybody. Because
Oh,
Well, all
you go,
right then.
everyone.
If you insist.
so Crick, I guess turn your cards over.
Okay. What? Okay, so yeah, I got them. Got them. What do I do?
You gotta drag it up.
Oh yeah, there we go. Have a good look.
So what did you see that you got? Because I see a couple
Oh.
different things here.
It was temperance, and it was upside down.
Ah. So let me steal that other card then.
Okay.
See, the nice
There
thing
you
about
go.
you, Crick, is your character's so new. No matter what happens to him, you can just fit it right in.
Yeah. Well, I was a slave, and this is my first thing, which I own technically. So,
This is my card.
yeah, my card. I am now a free elf.
So you suddenly start to feel ravenously hungry as you see the inverted temperance card, which just appears to be an angelic figure walking through what may be a shallow pond. But you just can't stop stuffing your face with what's left of the food on the table.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
from now on, you technically need, not that it comes up that often, twice as much food and water to sustain yourself.
Water.
How does a fire elemental drink water?
Well, he's really a humanoid with a fire elemental lineage.
I think I'd like inhale steam, and maybe like everything which I eat is turned to ash, and I just eat ash.
You also will be physically exhausted more easily, so you have disadvantage on athletics checks that relate to levels of exhaustion, or saves
Nice.
that relate to getting exhaustion.
Alrighty. Have fun with that.
Yeah. The other one's probably worse, I reckon.
Well, the other one's called the Wheel of Fortune, which sounds good, but it was upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Here's what you didn't win.
Oh, sorry, you chose the wrong door.
Wheel of Misfortune.
Yeah, so you realize that the wheel on the card appears to be spinning, and all of you hear echoing through this room a deep voice that says, "You, Crick Naroble, are bound by the whims of luck." And roll a d20 for me.
Oh boy.
Right in the middle.
So, as it turns out, each day, you will wind up making a saving throw for me. And if you fail the saving throw, then bad times. If you fail the saving throw, you basically get baned for the day. If you make the saving throw, you get blessed for the day.
Wow, okay. I got mighty screwed. Good shit.
So it's time to find out which saving throw it is and take that feat that will give you proficiency.
For right now, make me a con save.
Okay.
Is this one of those that's at disadvantage?
No, not yet. It's not disadvantage. That's for exhaustion.
Okay, con. Bam.
So you are baned.
So does that cancel out? Because he's technically got blessed right now.
No, he doesn't have bless or bane right now, or unless somebody cast bless on him.
Yeah.
in the last
I got
yeah.
blessed cast, yeah.
Okay, then you just barely make it then, no matter what you roll on the blessed die. So you are already blessed, but that effect won't wear off for the rest of the day for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
How weird would it be if he failed with the bless, and it's not like they don't cancel out? Instead, he has to roll to subtract, and then he has to roll to add, and then the total is what.
Yeah, this saving throw will always be made without the bless or bane that you're suffering. So it'll be more or less a straight roll, although it would be benefited by being within 10 feet of Lucia Rossi at the start of the day.
Yay.
So
does this mean that we can draw more?
Not anyone who, if you've already drawn, and I think everyone's already drawn.
I have not.
Lucia Rossi can still draw.
Okay, apparently I have 2 cards that have been dealt to me. I'll just go with that.
2's not enough for you, man.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
I could deal you more cards if you want, or I could clear all these cards and.
No, I'm gonna go with that. They were dealt to me for a reason. Asheros.
Yeah, the DM doesn't understand how this card thing works.
It didn't have to say it was a good reason. Just a
All right, so how do I do it?
So you should see DM trying to steal card. Just approve that. The 2 of Pentacles. You see, there is what appears to be a jester standing on.
Wait, I didn't see any of that.
You stole it from me.
Oh,
I just thought you were collecting everyone's cards.
wrong one. So you still see a jester, but it's T-hole.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is the 10 of Cups, right side up. And I let it go. Do you want both of them right now?
I can just deal with the 10 of Cups. You see there's a couple staring off into what appear to be hills. Another figure, a few other figures are in the distance. A rainbow hangs over the head, and in the rainbow you see 10 upright cups. And a similar deep voice to what you just heard says, "A pox upon you," with almost what looks like a Bigby's hand appears and dismissively waves in front of Lucia Rossi's face. Waves of heat and nausea begin to flow through you. You convulse and begin to vomit. And your condition appears to be getting worse. Roll me a d4. You lose 1 point of constitution.
Oh. Oh, I had a 14.
So let me send me the second card, or you can tell me what it is.
So this is just priceless. The Emperor.
The right side up.
It appears to be right side up to me.
So the silver throne rises again. This time you don't feel compelled to sit upon it, but Lucirosi, you feel, or T-Hole rather, you feel just as strongly as you feel that Zarius just tried to usurp your throne and is not even close to worthy to sit on it. You feel that Lucirosi is a worthy servant of the Empire, of you. And in your hand, that same silver staff appears, but it begins to shift and warp into what looks like a long iron rod. And you reach out feeling compelled to hand it to Lucirosi. Lucirosi, you hear T-Hole say to you, "Long live your glorious emperor, great and good servant of mine." And you take the rod into your hand and you realize there are 6 buttons on it.
God damn it. He's got a fucking rod of lordly might, man.
Yep, it is a rod of lordly might.
Oh, nice.
Did he just give away his emperorship?
I think he's blessed a servant.
I knew he had it in him.
T-Hole, would you like to sit upon your throne?
Very much so.
Well, the throne immediately, as T-Hole approaches it, the throne begins to sink into the floor again, vanishing.
I'll try. I'm gonna try to sit as fast as I can. Just sit on the throne.
Musical
So
chairs.
give me an athletics check to see how fast you can get there.
Use an action point if you have to.
I'd say you are able to get there when it is essentially at about footrest height and rest upon it, but it still sinks into the ground and disappears, and you just lay back onto the ground where it once sat.
Twice.
Oh shit! Rod of Lordly Might is fucking tits.
It's a pretty interesting item. Like, I don't know whether or not you'll need all the weapons it can turn into, but it does have a bunch of other powers.
The Terrify, the Life Drain, the Ladder.
Paralyze.
The Ladder, a battering horn. Or the ram, I mean.
So, and with that, you see the deck begins to float up into the air. All of the cards recollect into it. They seem to fly around you in a circle and then just vanish into the air.
Okay. Well, that was interesting.
Yes.
Well, it seems you are worthy to serve the Emperor.
Still don't believe the Emperor is you.
The emperor handed you the staff.
An agent of the cards, perhaps, is a representative.
I don't think so. This is all too familiar.
Praise be to Asheros.
Yes, praise be to Ashros.
Darius is just going to go into that like entry room where that couch was, and he's going to lay down.
Daggerface is pawing at the dust of his 2 Holbein axes that he briefly had.
T-Hole's gonna go into there's that area of the room. It's like where there's like the little coffee table,
Mhm.
and he's just gonna not in the front room, but like the area of like the dining room. I'm gonna sit in those chairs and just kind of zone out as I think about this this nemesis that's gonna pull me away as soon as I leave the manor.
I got hell coming for me.
Crick's gonna just wander around the mansion one last time.
So there is a whole hallway that they never looked at. You find it's actually rather short. But when you get up to the end of the hallway, you realize, although they've looked down it previously, they didn't actually walk down it. There's a collection of plants that have apparently just been placed on the ground in no particular order. But you see that there are on various tables like throughout the hallways, someone, actually the servant, went around putting all the plants back because he had collected them all in the front room when the demons attacked, because he has priorities. And he for some reason just left a bunch of them here near the end of this hallway. And give me an investigation check.
As you burn away the leaves.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I was thinking about doing. Yeah.
So you do find, by the way, that a lot of things in this manor are strangely fire resistant. Like the walls look like wood, but they're not burnable. The plants, however, seem to burn, although they also seem like they regenerate pretty quickly. So you could stand here all day burning these plants.
Unlimited kindling.
But you're able to notice also that there's something funny about the back wall, and you realize that when you touch it, you're pressing against something, but it's not the wall itself. The wall is some sort of illusion.
Can I walk through it?
There appears to be something behind it, some physical barrier.
I would call out to T-Hole. I'd be like, Emperor, there's something behind here. I think I need help. And I'd throw like a firebolt and some stuff at it just to show the reaction.
Well, the reaction's hard to say. The walls don't burn themselves, so
Yeah.
It does. T-Hole, if eventually T-Hole does see, if he doesn't notice it right away, that the firebolt is penetrating slightly into the wall, but whatever this barrier is, it is really close to the surface of this illusion.
The map says do not enter.
Does it?
For sure. Astral magical nexus warning, do not enter.
Right.
Did I come out of that?
No, you came out of the elemental nexus, which is in the
right.
chapel.
Yep. This might be that back door you were talking about.
Probably. I mean, this place is attached to the astral plane, and I guess it must be attached to the elemental plane too, since you're here. I don't know if, unless we were going to take this way, I don't know if it would be wise to remove this barrier. There's all sorts of things lurking in the astral plane. There's no sense in letting them in here if we're not going to.
But T-Hole, Crick, and Zarius, give me investigation checks. So all of you experience there's a little bit of vertigo walking through this hallway because it appears to kind of your perceptions of the distances involve stretches still, even though the demons are all gone. Stretches and shrinks depending on how far away you're looking. So you really have to kind of focus on your feet to walk with a firm footing here. But just counting your steps on the way down the hallway, Crick, you notice that at least if the map that the servant drew is accurate, this wall shouldn't be here. The hallway should be longer than this.
Zarius, that map doesn't seem to be correct. There might be something else.
T-hole, you rolled a 6, so you are unconvinced.
Are you? I'm not. I'm still seeing the cards. My screen.
Oh, I should. Nobody's actually right at the wall on the map at the moment, but. I don't see where oh, there's T-hole.
Yeah, moving them.
I mean, do I see the doors?
Yes, there are various doors that you did see the doors previously.
I'll
There's
just kind of like.
one inset door that apparently leads to some sort of bath area.
I will
Others-
listen at each door.
You don't hear anything.
Lucia Rosie's gonna approach and is gonna ask, "What are you guys doing?"
There's something which isn't on the map down here. We should see what it is.
I think we're drawing close to the astral plane, or the part of the man that touches it. I don't think we should cross that barrier unless we're prepared to deal with the astral plane.
Yes, I agree.
I do not think we are prepared for anything.
We need at least a rest before we even contemplate going out the front door, let alone praying down this barrier to who knows what's on the other side.
Have we explored what's in these rooms?
Nope,
Down
you
this
only-
hall?
You've looked down this hallway, but you've never gone into any of the rooms in this hallway.
No, I do not hear anything through the doors.
Lucia Rossi would be okay with going and opening this door.
Which one?
The
The
one,
one
leads,
that you're by right now?
Yeah.
the one that leads to the poo demon.
So opening that door, you're immediately hit with like a wall of steam that pours out, and you realize there is a heated bath inside this room. The floor is made of marble. The bath appears to be quite nice, and there appear to be a series of fairly complicated and intricate controls on the side of the bath at the level of the floor so that someone in the bath could manipulate them. There are 3 benches around the sides of the bath and large mirrors on the wall.
Mordenkainen surely knew how to create luxuries for himself.
So, on inspection of the map, does this barrier would lead to the astral plane nexus or whatever it is?
Well, at least if your count of the actual distance involved is correct,
Yeah.
you don't think so. You think there should just be more hallway than there is.
So, I think something's blocking the hallway. Like, it's not the Nexus at all. That would be in a separate room. Is there any way that we can get rid of this? And I just start like pouring at it and pressing on it.
So I see 1, 2, 3, 4 doors here, not including the bath one.
Oh, this is a door as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there are 4 doors you haven't opened in this hallway.
But there are 6 on the map.
See, now you see what I'm saying.
Yes.
So Lucirosi would walk to this door here and open it.
So opening that door, you see what appears to be a water closet, along with sinks and a makeup table, along with, again, a large mirror hanging over the sinks.
Okay. Found the toilet.
Yes, it is a strange contraption you're unfamiliar with. It appears to be some sort of magical poo bucket that you would normally just dump out into the street, but automatic.
I wonder if Mordenkainen also employed an earth elemental to take care of all of that.
I wouldn't put it past him. I might be able to bring this down, but not until we've had a long rest, or rested for some time. I am just too drained from our fight with the Regia.
Yes, of course, my liege. No despair.
Even in the event if we decide to take this down, I'm still hesitant on that itself.
Very well.
Lucirosi would open this door next.
Opening this door, the door opens out into the hallway. You see in front of you there is a wall of water that just is hanging there and not spilling out of the room. The room itself is otherwise furnished like something like you might think of as a bedroom, but there's no bed per se. It seems to be filled mostly with pillows to lounge upon.
The map says Zayad Genjalasi. Was he not the one that was in the temple?
He was.
Then the water makes sense.
This may be his room when he stayed here.
Was he a water demon?
Water elemental.
Close enough.
Are there any other doors?
There are 2 other doors you can see in this hallway. One here and one here.
Okay. It's going really slow for me right now, but Lucirosi would open up that closest door.
So it appears to open up into what seems to be a more or less plain and normal bedroom. There is a bed, there's a chair and a desk. A window on the wall seems to show the scene of a town that you're unfamiliar with, that you haven't seen before. But the scene in the town appears to be otherwise very normal.
I'll peer into the room before stepping in. Make sure there's nothing that's going to trigger traps or anything.
You don't see anything.
Sure. That's why I was looking. All right.
No obvious tripwires or anything of that sort.
Is there light in here?
There is light coming through the window from the outside, as it appears to be daylight outside. But otherwise, you don't see a light.
All right. No furnishing in here?
No, there's none on the map, but there is.
Okay.
It's got a desk and a bed and a chest. It looks like a fairly well apportioned room at an inn.
Hmm.
Looking at the window, getting closer to where the window is, you realize that the window itself and the scene outside appears to just be an illusion.
Okay. This was a Reverend Cinna Fleischman. Suppose that was one of the dead bodies that was in the temple.
Perhaps. So Lucirosi would open up the final door.
Here again, this appears to be a much nicer room than the previous one. The furniture is a great deal nicer than what you saw in the prior room. The fittings on like the chest of drawers appear to be silver. The sheets themselves appear to be made of silk. But there is no illusion of a window in here. It does appear to be dark at the moment, and you don't see a light in the room. But otherwise, it looks like a fairly normal bedroom. It does show some signs of having been lived in. As you see, there is a pair of very nice, probably a noble's boots or some sort of royalty's boots on the floor.
All right. Well, we've found some fairly comfortable accommodations for getting some rest.
Man, we should have gone to one of these rooms instead of sleeping in the dungeon. Well, hindsight's 2020, I suppose.
I'll examine everything in this room. See if there's anything.
You find a lot of, in the drawers and such, you find that there is a book of scripture from the Church of Asheros and a very ornate silver holy symbol of Asheros.
I'll just toss
That's-
those on the bed.
Encrusted with gems.
Are the rooms themselves, are they, do they distort the same way that the hallway kind of is?
No, you don't get the same sense in here. They all seem very normal once you're inside. Even the hallway looks normal once you're inside the rooms.
I'll gesture to Aurelia, perhaps for your newfound faith. The two.
Oh, of course. Praise be to Asheros.
Yeah, Peter, one thing to think about is you can still tell me what kind of Asmar you are because there are different types, sub-races of Asmar. You might be a fallen Asmar if that's what you choose. You don't necessarily, first of all, not all Asmar are devoted to even the church, but certainly not just to Asheros. So how religious you become is up to you.
Okay.
Yep. There's a protector, there's a scourge, and there's the fallen.
We've met a fallen Asami before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We killed one.
She was
And
a
she
crazy
spent-
bitch.
And she spent a lot of time associating you with tarot cards.
Yep.
True. Sorry, one sec.
All right. Well, Luciorosi's going to recommend that we get some sleep. It's been very hectic with drawing the cards. And we still have to make preparations for the morning when we finally leave.
Yes. So, we'll just
So if any of you return to the dining room, you see Daggerface has given up mourning the loss of his axe and is he's studying the deed. And you see he gives a big yawn, as most of it's in basically legalese, so it's hard to follow and boring.
He'll be out like a light.
Get him some warm milk.
Yeah. So I guess I would find one of these. Probably this. I would probably sleep in the room with the illusion in it.
Okay, give me another investigation check. So as you lay down, something is disturbing your ability to sleep. And so you get up and sort of check and see if there's anything like a lump in the mattress or anything. And there is an almost imperceptible lump. And you first go to reach under the mattress and you realize there are actually two mattresses there. And there's nothing, under the first mattress. But reaching under the second mattress, you pull out a wand.
Is it? Do I recognize it as like one of the wands that we've seen, those prestidigitation ones?
No, it appears to be very different. There is at the end of this wand what looks like a little stylized skull that appears to be screaming.
So since I guess before I go to sleep, I'll cast identify as a ritual.
It's a wand of fear.
Fear. A wand of fear. That's my favorite spell.
You'll never have to prepare it again.
That was also, by the way, a Princess and the Pea reference I made, where
Yes.
the woman could not sleep because she was so noble that she could feel a pea underneath multiple mattresses, and it was disturbing her.
So I don't know how much time we actually have before we're set to take a long rest. But in that time, Lucerosi would probably go into the chapel and unwrap the whip and begin trying to do sanctifying rituals upon it, and not dipping it into the fountain, but probably using the water as an aid of some sort, because he doesn't want a weapon of evil to just be out in the world, and so he's trying to find way of ridding the thing of the evil inherent in it, and if not, we'll work to destroy it.
So as you begin to pour the water upon it, you see it smokes, cracks, and sizzles. And it's, while the light in the room is probably constant, it's almost as if you could see the light dimming, and you begin to get a sense of serious malevolence from this whip.
Okay. So given that, I think then my tack would change and I'd want to try and destroy it. I don't know how Lucerosi would go about doing that, but that would be the goal if the malevolence was that powerful.
So, well, you tell me, how do you want to try to destroy it? It's not necessarily the One Ring.
Right. But at the same time, because it's, you said that it seems like it's made out of demon flesh.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just cutting it up seems like it wouldn't necessarily work. So he might try finding some, if there's any oil around, finding some oil, blessing the oil, and then pouring it upon it and trying to burn it.
Okay. I would say you do that. It does seem impervious to flames, although you've seen it on fire before with demonic flames.
Right.
Natural flames don't seem to be harming it at all.
Right. I was hoping the blessing would help with that. But
Perhaps you can trade it for Solosri.
ah. um so I mean, he would try using the Aregia's blade then to cut the whip into pieces, because at least then it couldn't function as a weapon, even if it still contained the malevolence and everything.
Okay, give me an attack roll. So as you bring your sword down upon it, not only does it not cut, but the whip almost seems like it twitches in reaction, and you take it lashes out at you, bursting into flames as it does so, and you take 7 slashing damage from the whip and 12 fire damage.
Stop trying to destroy shit that's killing you back.
Yeah, so now I'm getting the sense that not only is it malevolent, but also possibly even have some kind of sentience. Would that be a reasonable?
On some level, you're not sure to what extent it's
Right.
intelligent.
I'm really glad that I have been not touching the weapon directly.
Let Daggerface hold it.
He needs a weapon now.
He does technically also have a hammer, so he's not completely unarmed.
All right, so the time elemental box is destroyed now, right?
Yeah,
Or
that's
it's not functional like it used to be.
it. When you tried to open it, it simply popped like a bubble and disappeared.
Okay. Is there anything in the chapel that looks like it might be able to contain the whip, or anything?
There are certainly things like there are 2 large urns on either side of the pool that are otherwise currently empty. They're substantially bigger than just a whip. There is a cubbyhole underneath the altar that you found the horn in, and it's usually used to hold like sanctified bread, water, wine, scriptures.
Yeah, I don't want to put the whip in direct contact with any of those things, because I don't want its malevolence, because it's clearly powerful. I don't want it corrupting those sacred things.
Right. There were chests in the guest rooms you just opened.
Yeah, so I would probably try to find one of those chests to place it in. Yeah, I might even, given a chance, try to return to the treasure room to lock it up in there.
Okay, are you doing that by yourself?
Yeah, probably. I don't.
And Lucirosi was never seen again. No, you go back upstairs, reorient the statue again, as the treasure room appears to be sealed off. Reopen it and go inside. Do you want to go to like that final astral treasure room, or just to the fake one that Aregia was using?
No, I want to go deep down into that one.
So you get to the statue with a bowl of sand in front of it. and I guess give me an intelligence check. I don't even know if Lucirosi was watching to see the symbol, but I'm guessing Lucirosi might not necessarily know what symbol he drew in there. So you are able to remember from the ancillary conversations that you have to actually put in equals and then the infinity sign. And you vanish from the room and reappear in the astral plane on top of that floating disc over the top of the skull. So you're 60 feet above the giant skull.
Yeah. So what I would probably do at this point is spend an action point to get my Radiant Soul ability activated to give me some wings and fly down into the skull and place it with the other valuables amongst there.
Right. So you fly into the skull. At this point, all that's there is basically a mundane desk and chair. And a lot of the stuff that was in the room disappeared with you when you were transported back.
Oh, that's right.
And,
Okay,
but you put it there in a drawer in the desk.
Is the drawer lockable?
You don't see a lock,
Okay.
or if
Is
it
there-
were, you don't see a key either.
What about the chest that I had placed it in? Is that lockable?
That does have a lock on it.
Okay, so I would probably keep it in the chest that I brought it down in, and lock it.
Okay. So now you're in the giant skull.
Yeah.
Last time you were just instantly transported back.
Oh yeah. Huh. This does pose an interesting conundrum, doesn't it?
There is a portal that you popped out of, but you didn't have to previously see if it's a two-way thing.
Well, I hope that, it was, and I'd try to fly back into it.
So yeah, you fly back into it and reappear in the treasure room.
Okay, awesome. At that time, Lucirosi would probably just try to find somewhere comfortable. He would assume that the others would take up the rooms, so he'd just find somewhere else where he can make something makeshift that he could sleep on, take off his armor, and begin doing his nightly prayers and everything.
Daggerface is brewing coffee to try to stay awake as he reads through this deed.
Gonna need
So
more than
is
that.
T-Hole going to try to open that book again?
He see, would he have is there anything that he could do to see, no, I can't ritually cast that. So I don't think there's anything I would have that could help, that could protect me from that right now. So I would not.
Okay. So everyone can get a long rest in. There's no other threats in the manor that you need to be worried about as far as you can tell. Somewhere the librarian. But that's about it. And after many, many hours, you were able to get a full rest in. So you're all restored.
Goody.
So
that was your
Important.
I'm gonna make that.
Yeah, make me a saving throw. So you are blessed for the day.
I mean, I guess that's kind of fun. It's like, do you start your day off on like the right foot or the wrong foot?
Wrong
Right.
side or right side of the bed. Yeah.
All you have to do is adventure on the days you're blessed, and then stay home the other days.
Yep.
And then this is essentially a boon, and there's no concentration to break to ever lose this effect.
So
What does bless do? It just gives you a +4 on all rolls or whatever.
D4
D4.
on saving throws and attack rolls.
Right.
Okay.
So when I wake up, I'm gonna like touch my face to see if I still look the same.
Yes, you are approximately 6'2" and a female lion woman.
I jump right up and go run to find Mr. Scratches. And then shake him away. It's permanent. Look at me. Praise be to Asheros.
Yes, child, I see.
What you doing?
I was attempting to sleep, but
Don't we have prayers?
if you wish to learn the prayers of Asheros, I am happy to teach you. And he'll get up groggily and then invite you to join him in the chapel to do all that stuff.
Do Azamars have tails?
They can.
Certainly the lion version can.
That's very exciting.
Do you want to have a tail?
Of course I do.
So you probably, to make it comfortable, will have to make some ad hoc modification to your armor, but it's fine.
I think.
What kind of armor do you wear?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I don't know.
Whoops.
You punching a little girl?
But this is how Asheros worships. We do not talk about how Asheros is worshipped.
Leather armor. So
Yeah, so you will have to, make a slit or cut out a small piece to accommodate the tail.
am I taller than Lucerosi, or are we the same height now?
You basically can pick your appearance. Like, you don't have to be, I said lioness. If you want to slowly change into some other cat type, that's also doable. But, you are approximately the same height as Lucerosi.
Do I get on my tippy toes? Look, I'm taller.
Yes. Good for you, child. I am glad that you are happy with your new form.
It was in the cards.
Quite.
So, what are we doing next?
I don't know. What is everyone else doing?
T-Hole walks out of the room and back into the dining area where Daggerface is.
Daggerface is asleep, like face planted into the deed, drool spilling out onto it. Empty, like, pots of coffee scattered around the table.
I'm gonna leave him be and then go get some more sweet rolls and to start walking around eating them. I might head up to the library and peruse the books to see if there's any of interest.
As you walk into the kitchen, you see Crick's already in there, and he's like setting all the baskets on fire and trying to eat everything inside. He's famished.
Damn it! Save some for the rest of us, Crick.
I can't control it. Here, have that one. And I kick one across kick a basket across the floor.
So I'll pick it up and hold it and walk around, walk away with it. Just kind of give a side glance, and I'll plop it onto the table next to Daggerface. So when he wakes up, he'll at least have something to eat.
So yeah, so you kick across, a basket of food. You take it out there, setting it down so that Daggerface has something, noticing that it appears to just be onions. And then
Here you go. You eat these.
They look like sweet rolls.
yeah, when you try to concentrate on sweet rolls, all of the ingredients to make sweet rolls appear, but the banner doesn't magically make the food for you.
Not even bread?
Not even bread. Although, again, you think that, and more flour, salt, sugar all starts popping up.
Start thinking of strawberries and stuff. Stuff that is fine as is. No cooking needed. Zarius walks in and I'm going to attempt to scry on the young king.
Can I help?
You can watch.
So T-Hole just sits down and just starts intently watching Zarius then.
I have to go to I'll probably use the water in the temple.
Okay, so you go back into the chapel area and the pool there.
Mm-hmm.
And cast scrying. Actually, I should look at the spell.
There you go.
Okay. So you would know this is a spell you have learned how to cast. You don't think he would count as a creature on the same plane of existence as you at the moment.
Require that?
It's in the first line, first sentence.
Yeah. All right. So I'll get to do it whenever we leave. Okay.
Actually, or you have another option. At the very bottom of the spell, it says you can choose a location you have seen, and it doesn't say that is on the same plane as you.
Okay. I don't know what it's like out there, so I'm not sure where to scry on. I could try that throne room place that we met, but I doubt that'll be of any use. How about the who are we staying with? Some Duke or something? Dom
Petronio.
Yeah. I'm gonna scry on his I guess that sort of dining room or whatever that we were always hanging out in.
Okay. So you cast the spell, and the sensor appears, and what you see in the pool is not the dining room that you remember. First of all, it appears as though the sensor you've created has appeared in what seems to be burned rubble. You can't see the sky above you, but the room appears to have suffered extensive damage, and one or more of the floors above seems to have collapsed in. But there's extensive fire damage. You can see that very clearly on all the rubble around here. The entire place must have been at one point just a complete inferno to have caused this much burning.
I'll just sort of watch for a little bit to see if any, because it lasts for 10 minutes. So,
Right. The dining room was relatively central in the manor itself, in the mansion of Dom Petronio. So it's not exactly as if you could see. And then the mansion itself wasn't like on the street; it was inset in its own enclosure. So you can't necessarily see what's happening like through a window or anything like that. But you don't see any signs of life in any of the surrounding rubble.
and nobody like passes through or anything.
No.
Okay.
But, you know, the damage is like this. It is no longer a house. It is just a heap of burned wood at this point. It would probably be maybe even unsafe for people to try walking through it, given that the rest of the structure could collapse from this much damage.
And it didn't look like it was smoking, right? So it's been
No, it is clearly
like this for a while. Yeah.
It is clear that this damage happened at some point in the past, at least weeks or months.
Right. Because it can take a while for that shit to stop smoldering. Alrighty. And T-hole was there.
Am I able to see, like, because this is reflecting in the pool? Can I see it as well, or is this something only Zarius can see?
Given that I assume it appears in the surface of the mirror or water that you're looking at, I would say everybody, you know, within reason can see.
Yeah.
Is this the throne room?
No, this is
that-
Dom Petronio's dining
Yeah.
room,
Yeah.
where you know, smoked your ghost weed and
Yeah, yeah.
tried to buy diamonds.
He didn't.
Maybe we should scry on the throne room, Zarius?
Try, but when we leave here, I will have none of my fifth tier.
Fair.
Well, if this damage is any if this damage is any indication of the state of affairs and is it Montver? And Montver, if in Montver, then I'd say that the war has already begun and already ravaged them. I can't imagine that level of destruction only affected one house away from the others, as it were.
Actually, rereading the spell, I realize now it's see and hear. So what you heard while you were watching the scene is mostly just wind, a mountain wind passing through the rubble. But about 5 or 6 minutes in, about halfway through, you do hear what is unmistakably the roar of a dragon. Sounds like it's fairly distant, but that you can hear it at all means closer than most people would like.
At that point, Lucirosi walks in and he's asks, "So, have you guys been able to see anything of the outside?"
Destruction.
Truly?
Truly.
How bad?
I peered upon the Dom Petronio's abode. It was charred cinder.
Did you see Dom Petronio himself?
I saw
No.
no one. I heard the roar of sounded of a dragon. Would I know why a dragon would attack? I mean, I suppose they could be, at the whim of themselves, but
Yeah, you are not aware of any reason. In fact, most dragons just try to avoid settlements.
yeah.
The last time dragons got tangled up with civilization, the Empire wiped most of them out.
Mhm.
under the leadership of Emperor Teal. As near as you can tell, at least it was him.
I don't recall what Helwe would have told everyone, so I can't tell you what he might know.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't we leave immediately? I mean, whatever they want, we should just give them if they're under this sort of assault. If there's a dragon attacking Montver, but at the very least, we're doing no one any good sitting in here.
I agree, Daggerface. We need to go. We need to help who we can. Daggerface, just keep the deed with you. If we need to retrieve anything from here, then we can do so when needed. My understanding is the door should follow you when you request it. So you've been reading the deed.
It's a little more involved than that, but yes, I can call upon the door when I want to. And if there's a suitable space for it to appear, I can then open it wherever I am.
All right.
There you go.
So let's leave this place and see what aid we can provide to Montver.
Let us go.
It works for me.
So you make it back to the front door, and Daggerface opens it, and you step through, and everyone give me a dex save.
Sweet.
Does everybody get the benefit of my aura of protection?
Sure.
Okay, everybody gets +3.
That's not gonna help me.
Damn. Man, I have the ion of
Agility.
Yeah. So I'm gonna use a action point to reroll that dex save.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
Same damn thing.
Oh fuck me! I went even lower.
So the DC is 15, and
Some of us are not making it.
What's the aura protection?
You get +3 to your saving throws because everybody who's within range gets a bonus equal to my charisma modifier.
Okay.
so as you begin to appear one after the other on the other side, you immediately, even before your senses begin to clear from transporting from the manor to the material plane again, you immediately feel the sensation of just falling, occasionally scraping along some sort of wall as you go. You take, anybody who made a con save, 15 or more can take half of that, but you take 17 falling damage. As you realize the door is still exactly where it was, although the room is currently dark. There's no light in here whatsoever. The door is exactly where it was, but the entire room itself appears to have been knocked onto its side. So the only hallway in is, in fact, pretty much directly adjacent to where the door was. You, however, have fallen to what used to be the far wall of this room, 60 feet, and is now the floor. And so you all land prone and with a splat. You can see that right not too far away on what is now the floor is the remains of a campfire. You're not sure who it was. It doesn't look like it was necessarily very big, but someone was probably camped out here for a while. You also hear the fluttering of wings coming towards you. And as you are still prone, something lands on T-Hull's back. And those of you with dark vision can see it appears to be a normal-sized white owl, very similar to Lokexicus's familiar.
My torch would be here, so.
So then you can all see. And as you're looking, the owl looks at each of you, its head sort of turning 90 degrees the way owls' heads do. And it opens its beak and you hear, I think you'll hear.
In Starlock Prison?
That's not it. This.
My buttercups! It is I, Lopixicus! So, I organized a rescue when you didn't come back from the manor, but we were captured and put in Starlock Prison and held for ransom because they think you guys have something called the Wand of Eternity's Doorstep. So, I am here with fellow rescuers, the Colossi and Deadpools, and Cato Agrippa. Could you come trade the wand or bust us out of here? Thanks! They coming?
The Wand of Eternity's Doorstep. Isn't that what Bucknerd was talking about?
Yes. Yes, it was.
I don't remember.
Is that some
Emperor
sort of?
T-hole? This place is a dump.
Is this a demon owl? What is that? This
Devil.
That is, it's a familiar of our sometime employer.
this plane of flesh is all weird.
So, do we know where Lopixicus referred to in the message?
Starlock Prison is people can give me a history check to see if they know exactly where it is. You're aware that it's relatively famous because it is a prison in Longspear that is specialized in holding magic using and magical creatures that need to be imprisoned. It is especially built to kind of hold them so that they can't escape using magic. T-Hole, you would know more or less exactly where it is. It is, in fact, not a Longspear. It makes sense that you would, because it's not something that Longspear came up with. It's more than 1,000 years old. They probably added to it over time, but originally it was exactly that. It was a holding facility for creatures that could otherwise teleport or plane shift or escape any ordinary prison. But it is in the mountains, not that far from Monver, about 5 or 6 days journey. But it's deeper in the mountains than this palace was.
So, what's the place called?
Starlock Prison.
Starlock Prison is further up in the mountains, about a week out, a little less.
Has the owl remained? Or did it fly off?
The owl is currently still there,
Okay.
standing on T-Hole. As T-Hole props himself up, it does hop off and bounces along the ground a bit.
T-Hole, you're more familiar with these matters. Can that owl hear us and deliver messages to Lopixicus?
Give me an Arcana check.
Crit.
You're 100% sure that what Lopixicus did is essentially place a kind of magic mouth on the owl. So the owl is not necessarily any smarter than a normal owl or have any way of delivering messages directly. It's probably attuned enough to her to find its way back to her if she's in that prison. So it might be able to carry a small note. But you can't just speak to the owl, for example. It's not going to be able to communicate that.
That from like a verbal communication, it was only a one way. But we can see if we can find a note around here and tie it to the owl's leg or something. But then we'd run the risk of other people reading that message.
You have a illusory script. It's a perfect time for illusory script.
Can illusory script? Gosh, you know what? I didn't prepare it.
It's a ritual.
It's not written. I don't.
Oh,
have it
I thought it was a ritual.
I mean, it could
Maybe
be
I'm
not
mistaken.
put in here. It could not be.
Yeah,
It
it's a
is.
ritual.
It is.
Okay, I just didn't copy it right.
This Lukexicus might have been attacked. I wonder what that scream was.
So, yeah, I'll pull out like. Yeah, is there any parchment around?
Not that you can see in the room. I don't know if any of you have parchment on you. You know, I would bet you can find, you do have multiple books. Maybe not tear anything out of the De Fabrica, or at least let Lucia do it if someone's going to try. But the other book, that manual of the planes, probably has a blank page in it somewhere, or at least partially blank page.
I got my spell book too, but I don't know if I want to sacrifice potential room for spells.
Right. Daggerface doesn't have anything on him with parchment in it, I don't think.
Well,
I know I have a silver scroll tube. I don't know if I had anything still in it though. That's back from long time ago though.
I mean, if you can get up to the door, there's all sorts of parchment in the manor.
Just summon the door down to here.
Well, if we can get some parchment, I can write a message.
What would we say?
Can we just not follow this out?
No, Teal, the message will read, "You're on your own."
We should let them know that we're on our way, but also let them know that we do not possess the item that they are claiming we have.
I was sleeping and I found this wand, but it's a wand of fear, not of the all-powerful wand.
So then why are you bringing it up?
Because I don't know what other wand they would be talking about.
Yeah, Teal, I have a bunch of wands of prestidigitation. Maybe they don't want those too. What? Anybody else have any wands that aren't relevant?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Can we turn this stick into a wand?
No, we need to go and get our friends out. They have Kato. I owe him my life several times over. I cannot let him rot in a prison for no reason that he can control.
If it is days away, then in the morning I can prepare a way to communicate. Short form, similar to this message.
Well, that would be helpful, but we should get a move on now while we can. And if we come across any survivors of whatever it is that happened here, along the way we can help them and try to get more information about what happened.
Forgot where we were at, like in relation to the rest of the, like the castle and stuff. Because I know it wasn't like right near it, right?
So technically you guys are here in the what is now the ruins of the Floatstone Palace. Monver is to the southeast. You would guess that, approximately speaking, the Floatstone Palace is far up the river about there. But that it is fairly hard traveling over these mountains, even if you use the roads. So one thing to think about, since we'll break here, But one thing to think about is if you use the roads, you're much more likely to encounter people going to and from either remote mountain villages or this prison in particular. And you don't know what the state of the world is right now. You know that the Floatstone Palace, which was an enormous floating column of rock, itself almost the size of a mountain, is now apparently laying down on its side. Whether it's floating in the air or not, you don't know. But it's not supposed to be oriented any other direction but straight up and down. So something has gone wrong here. You would guess someone somehow disenchanted it, and that is akin to destroying the One Ring in this world. This is so ancient a piece of magic and so powerful. It is like floating a city in the air, and somehow someone seems to have destroyed it. So, are you going to meet anybody on the road? You don't know. If you don't want to take the road, you could probably traverse over the mountains themselves, but the travel checks will be a fair bit harder.
Especially since we don't have Hellweir. Right, Brennan?
Right.
Yeah, I know, right?
You can now get lost.
Yeah. Fuck.
Howard's out there somewhere.
And you could stumble into traps. That's true. He may be working with the hobgoblins who attacked Monfair.
Hell
Along
yeah.
with Kajika.
Yeah, Kachika's there. Shit. Who knows what's going on out here? How long's it been? We don't even know. Far out.
You don't
Right.
know, but you do know that I didn't mention, but now that you're sort of acclimated and the fall is over, you realize it's pretty warm. It's probably like in this room like 80 degrees, and you're guessing from the otherwise dead silence that it's not like the building's on fire or anything. It's just warm outside. So it was.
Yeah, it was winter when we came in here, right?
Yeah.
It was the depths of winter when you came in here, but it's either an unusually warm day or it's got to be summer.
Feels nice.
Yeah,
Well,
for Crick it's probably like unbelievably cold, but it's warmer than that manor place was. So.
So Lush Rossi would say, I recommend that we use the roads. They may be potentially more treacherous at this time, but it will, at least this way we can know where we're going, and perhaps we can encounter people that can give us more information about what has happened.
Yes, and it will be good to see that these people see that their emperor is alive and that they will be motivated. Praise be to Asheros.
That's absolutely right. I agree with both of you.
Also, I feel it important to mention, I did not want to say anything while we were in the manor. Perhaps this is not the time either, but I didn't want that devil overhearing. Daggerface, my contract has changed.
What do you mean?
I mean,
How?
I don't know. I received a vision and was given a task that could potentially lead to some kind of redemption. I need to do more prayer and look at it more, but if it has changed for me, it is possible that we could change it for you as well.
Does Asheros know about this?
He sort of swings his pack off his back and begins like just almost throwing things out of it to dig through to the bottom as he stuffed the contract way at the bottom of his pack, not wanting to really see it. Takes it out and unfolds it, and then like almost bursts into tears now that he's not wearing his mask, and he just folds it back up and puts it back inside and says, "Mine hasn't really changed. It's pretty much the same."
Well, Daggerface, we know now that it is possible to change our fate, and I will not rest until we can restore what was stolen from you. And he looks at T-Hole.
Yes, and when we get T-Hole back on his throne, he'll be able to restore it. Praise be to Asheros.
Lucius got a little crick in his neck.
Daggerface steps forward a little aggressively to Aurelia, but then you could see the mental process as he reminds himself that lion-faced person or not, that she's still basically 13. And he calms down and averts his gaze and steps back and says, I don't think there's anything T-Hole can do that's going to help me.
No, but together we can. Now, you have already done so much for us with your aid in getting to the manor and dealing with the threats therein. If you choose not to accompany us to find our friends, I would certainly understand. We would welcome your aid, but regardless if you choose to come with us, once we are done, I will seek you out and we can work together to address this issue of these contracts.
Well, I hadn't really thought that far ahead, but let me sleep on it and I'll give you my answer tomorrow. I'll travel with you until then. Although, it's so dark in here. Is it day or night outside? There's no way to really tell. And this was fairly deep inside the rock. So there was, as far as you could tell when you came in, no natural light reached it anyway.
Well,
We will have to make our way out first to tell.
well, I do have this fancy new gadget that has some sparkly new bits and pieces. Maybe something on that can help.
Well, I have keen mind, so I can always know the number of hours left before the next sunrise or sunset.
That I would say that although technically within what the feat says that is true, coming from essentially another plane of existence and not knowing what the start time is, your keen mind can't calculate what time it is now. So
Fair.
once you figure out what time it is, you'll reset your mental clock and be able to do that.
I keep typing in not Rod of Lordly Might, but Lord of Rodly Might. I keep doing it.
Not safe for work images.
But it does have one function that can indicate magnetic north, as well as provide knowledge of approximate depth beneath the ground or height above it.
So, I mean, assuming you took the time, which is fine, to figure out how all the buttons work, you do know which way is north. It is essentially straight through one of the walls here. But essentially, you would guess that essentially this building must have fallen to the east, given which wall appears to be north. So it's on its side. Again, you're assuming it's on the ground. It's probably on the ground if it's on its side at all.
So but the rod doesn't just say magnetic north, but how far below or above the ground we are. So does it say?
You're not underground. So you're also, it doesn't indicate you're being significantly, above the ground either. I guess it's a question of, doesn't the floor count it? Like how far down?
That's true.
But I would say you get, you could basically work out that the entire fortress is on the ground on its side. That it's not that they've simply tipped it over. They've somehow disenchanted it, and that's what caused it to fall over. So it is a testament to just how strong this fortress was that the entire thing didn't shatter, because it must have fallen 800 feet out of the sky, hit the ground, and then tipped over. And this room is, while there's definitely some rubble and cracks in the wall, largely intact. But it was pretty deep inside the rock itself, so.
Now we might see other parts that are less fortunate.
Yes,
Just-
well, I think it best for us to start trying to find our way out of here and heading towards the prison.
So what you remember of this room, the only way out really was there was one passage. Like they essentially put the door in this room once they figured out how to move it because it was fairly remote. So nobody could sort of easily get to it here. There's only one way in or out of the room that you saw, one main passage. And it was, like I said, it was adjacent to the door. So it is about 60 feet up on the north wall. So Lucia Rossi can fly up there, but
Is
I
there
don't know
no
if the
door?
rod of Lordly Might has a 60-foot ladder.
It's a 50-foot ladder.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I guess you thought about that, huh?
Rather, the Rod of Lordly Might is a completely random event that I was not planning on.
I mean, I could turn it into a battering ram and we could just go through the wall. But
That-
who knows?
that-
Structural.
Yeah,
Wow.
that might bring some parts of this place down upon you, though, as you try to batter through.
Yeah.
I mean, it fell 800 feet out of the sky and is still intact.
Right.
Yeah.
What do we think we're gonna do with a fucking
Right.
battering
Right.
ram?
I don't mean this room is probably safe from a battering ram, but yeah. And, I mean, in any event, certainly if Lucia Rossi flew up to where it was, like ropes could be lowered. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you could scale 60 feet.
Does anybody have a rope?
Daggerface would have rope.
I have an explorer's pack. That should have rope on it.
T-Hole also has one. So I think we have enough rope to try and make it up.
I mean, it would probably be helpful if you, like, we knotted off one rope, tied it to the end of the 50-foot ladder, and then use that. Climb up 50 feet to get most of the way there. Climb up the knotted rope the rest of the way, and then when everybody's up, you could just pull the ladder up using the rope.
That sounds like a very good plan. Let's do that.
So yeah, using that plan, you don't have to make athletic checks. The knotted rope and 50 feet of ladder means it's just that last 10 feet. You're all able to make it up into the hallway. The hallway was wider than it was tall by a little bit. So now it's taller than it is wide. So it's an easy walk down the hall. The stairwells that you came down to get in here were all sideways, and you pretty quickly come to ones that are blocked with rubble, along with skeletal remains of people in armor, the guards that formerly just patrolled the hallways. Give me, Zarius, give me a medicine check.
Ready? So
Nice.
how does a 30 do for you?
Not high enough.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
you're able to easily tell that given that these are skeletonized down to the bone, and clearly these people just rotted away where they died, they must have died more than a year ago. Any more detail than that you can't say, but certainly more than a year ago.
We have been in that manner for a very long time. More than a year.
That's unfortunate.
That's not that bad.
It's true. Aurelia, you're from my time. So a year is nothing.
Some of us do not time skip as you do.
Oh, it wasn't on purpose.
I believe it. Either
making
way,
your way out, you are able to eventually find a path that gets you through the rubble. There is a small bit, however, at the end where you're sure that there must be, you can see some cracks of daylight from the other side, but it's more or less packed with rocks. You also begin to hear a screeching from the other side as the entire ground beneath your feet shakes, or stone beneath your feet begins to shake. And you see a form of just bright, brilliant red in the sunlight on the outside that seems to be, and hear a hammering, probably you would assume of somebody hitting the rocks with a hammer. But the screeching is also clearly coming from right outside. It is some sort of enormous creature, and of a type that you're not sure you've ever encountered before. And I guess that's what will end it, although I will at least show you what you catch a glimpse of looking through the cracks. If I can find the... where is it? Not letting me share the other screen. There we go. Wait. So can you see it?
the
Oh,
rock.
boy.
Giant
Yes.
bird.
It is a giant red bird. And it is apparently identified that you're in here.
Fucking
And
how?
that is approximately the scale. Oh, I forgot to mention, the owl would have flown off as you were doing all this eventually.
If this guy's immune to fire, I'm screwed.
Right. So
Same.
you see the owl begin to fly off. Do you want to try to stop it? Because you haven't attached a note.
I think
I
we,
think
just
we
gonna
have other
rely on-
things that are
Yeah.
of concern.
I can
Yeah,
set
no,
up
this right.
the
This
next
would have
day.
been before the you encountered the giant bird. But yeah, so the owl takes off and flies away. So that's where we'll stop it. We'll start with encountering the giant hawk, aka Rock.
Wow.
And you will see the token for this is 2 scale.
Damn.
Oh shit.
Excellent.
I know they're big.
It is a 200-foot wingspan.
Yeah, it's fine, guys.
Okay.
It's fine. Just don't let it pick you up so it can fly
Right.
way off into the sky and then drop you.
Okay,
Good.
dokie then.
Just don't let it. Give it a stern no if it tries.
Stop it.
I do not consent.
Just wrap it across its talons with the rod of lordly might.
All right.